Unfortunately, Simon Phoenix was not coded. While you were sleeping, everyone in the city was installed code. It was a brilliant idea by Dr. Cocteau that an organically bioengineered microchip be sewn into the skin. Sensors all over the city can zero in on anyone at any time.
I can't even conceive a visual of what you police officers did before it was developed.
We work for a living. This fascist crap makes me want to puke.
What do you think you're scratching, caveman?
To assist in our recovery, the Neo-Sapien Occupation Committee has ordered all Terrans to register with the Neo-Sapien Central Administration at once. During this registration, a small identification chip will be implanted under the skin. This will be mandatory for all natural humans. Those who fail to register will be considered enemies of the Neo-Sapien government and will be dealt with accordingly. The Sapes are here to help us? What a crock.
Large, enthusiastic crowds have turned out for the first day of mandatory civil registration.
Registration? Any jerk can see they're on their way to a concentration camp.
Phaeton must subjugate the planet, quickly and brutally and publicly. As long as humans believe they can resist, they will.
Advanced Neo-Sapien technology has made the implantation process simple and completely painless.
This is an important day for Chicago. Now, Phaeton City, indeed.
Neo-Sapiens. By right of conquest, the homeworlds are ours. The superiority of the Neo-Sapien race has triumphed. Those who opposed us have been crushed. Terrans who accept the Neo-Sapien peace will be tolerated in the New World Order. Those who refuse and resist will be eliminated.
Founder and director of Caspian, Consumers Against Supermarket Privacy Invasion and Numbering. That's the group that took on Walmart a little while back when they first switched to radio frequency chips to track packages. Albrecht published the book Spy Chips, started a website of the same name, and even put out this eye-catching t-shirt. Needless to say, she's not too stoked on the possibility of our government or other private agencies spying on us through our consumer products or chips embedded in our skin. Oh, and FYI, the website says that if you're trying to disable an RFID chip, a microwave will work, but it's not recommended because it can start a fire. And also, don't try to drown the chip, water doesn't work, and neither do magnets. Of course, the companies manufacturing the chips, like the VeryChip Corporation, maintain that their goal is to improve our lives. VeryChip's website focuses on health concerns and safety that shows how their products prevent Alzheimer's patients from wandering off or babies being delivered to the wrong mothers. But I guess in the end, what really counts, though, is that the thing can get me in with the VIP crowd at the hot Spanish disco. Then I'm all for it. Just put those drinks on my arm. Keep searching. Google Current. We'll be back in 30.
Limits, dude. What if we start seeing all these applications that come out that you have to have an RFID chip to participate in the app? I'm just saying, that's the purpose of this conference that they're having with what? Facebook. And who's got a Facebook account? Everybody's got a Facebook account. Let's continue reading on. Here we have the tags are short range. So delegates have to make an active effort to have the tag scanned, but doing so will automatically sign them up for to a related Facebook group, record their presence for plotting on a wall screen in the main hall. Oh my gosh, dude, talk about tracking people. Connecting the identity to a Facebook profile opens up all sorts of opportunities for linking the online network with the real world and for Facebook to gather yet more information about its users.
Privacy advocates say hackers can clone these chips
and get into your home or your computer, potentially secure door in your workplace.
If programmed with credit card or medical information, identity theft could become a problem. And if you think replacing a credit card is a hassle.
You can imagine if you have a tag in your body, getting that changed is a surgical procedure rather than a number of phone calls.
The chips themselves don't contain any personal information, but they do contain a key to information. Unencrypted information that Jonathan West Hughes, a software developer in Canada, says he found relatively easy to copy, meaning he could become Sean Darks in the eyes of a machine if he wanted to.
If you think that it's just Facebook that's doing this, everyone does. Google does this. YouTube does this. Facebook now is just more open about it than the rest of them. But the point is, you have an RFID chip that now is being linked to your personal profile on Facebook. So we have an RFID chip for the first time ever. You can now have buying and selling in that RFID chip with Positive ID, has bought Steel Vault. Now we have Facebook and an RFID chip connecting it to your personal profile. Your personal profile, your credit, your accounts, your money, you. Whoa, dude. Some of us thought that we thought we'd be raptured. There's some of you guys who thought, yeah, listen, we'd be raptured before we start to see any of this technology. And I used to think that too, but not anymore. I'm seeing stories like this almost every single day. And I want to tell you something. The Bible says to us, and don't run off just because I say the Bible. The Bible says that there will be an economic ultimatum that will be digitized, essentially. How do you get the whole world to buy or sell without, how is it going to happen? That's the move. Look at the trends. The trends are curving that way of RFID chip, tracking, putting everything on a chip, buying, selling. I mean, we talked about all these things before. I'm just telling you, that's where the trend is at. So, the Bible says this in Revelation chapter 13, it talks 15 through 18, talks about the mark of the beast, this enormous prophecy that all of us are going to be soon faced with. I used to at one point believe that I won't be here to see this, but after seeing articles like this where they're putting Facebook profiles together with RFID chips, and we know they're already putting RFID chips together with your money, we reported on it, right?
It's the right thing to do, and then, as you well know, John, this is where the national registry becomes so important, because what you have is individual states, they may have a database, but if they're not sharing it with the state next door, you've got a guy from Illinois driving over into Indiana, and they're not talking to each other. And so making sure that not only are we getting these DNA tests done state by state, but then nationally, everybody's talking to each other. That's how we make sure that we continue to tighten the grip around folks who have perpetrated these crimes.
I'm going to tell you something, power is knowledge, and the lack of it is death.
And the FDA warns that chips could potentially migrate or travel throughout the body and even cause problems with MRIs and electromagnetic interference.
Well, they talked about, for example, electrical hazards. This thing is by no means inert. The way it works is it actually picks up and amplifies ambient electromagnetic energy from the reader devices. And if you have one of these things in your arm and you get within range of a powerful electromagnetic field, it can actually burn you.
Combat units in Iraq, like the Missing Soldiers Division, are not outfitted with tracking devices. One reason, the high cost. Another, the danger involved if a soldier carrying one gets captured.
That provides certain options for the adversary. If he knows that this is a tracker, and somebody's going to come back and get this tracker because they think it's associated with a human being, they have the ability to set up an ambush for whatever unit's going to come back and try and find this unit.
One option, placing a tracking microchip under a service member's skin. Former U.S. Special Operations officers tell us they believe that's being developed. Current military officials won't comment on that.
Just what do you call money these days? Is it a handful of coins and notes, or are cards taking over? And are some forms of money coming to the end of their lives, like the cheque, 350 years old this year?
The use of cheques has been declining progressively for some time. The main substitution is the growth of electronic payments.
It's not just checks that are under threat from cards. Next month, Barclays will start issuing contactless debit cards, which allow you to make payments under £10 without entering a PIN number. And this is not just about cards. The contactless technology in these is now being transferred to these too. There's a growing feeling that the mobile phone could become the digital wallet of the future. And that could not just make cash irrelevant, it could make cards obsolete too. So it's the mobile phone which may become the best way to pay. Here's how one expert sees life in 5 or 10 years' time.
When you go to buy a cup of coffee, you'll just tap. If you're buying a pair of shoes, you'll punch in your PIN and tap. And if you're buying a car, you'll speak and your voice or your fingerprint will identify you, and then you'll punch in the PIN and tap.
Some retailers are embracing the new technology, but others are worried about what they will pay.
What we're concerned about is that contactless is a replacement for cash, but it's being priced at a much higher rate for debit, which is about 4 times the price of a cash transaction for a retailer.
But don't assume cash is out of fashion. It's still the most popular way to pay. Money may be changing in the digital age, but not quite as fast as you might think.
In the next century, because computer chips are getting smaller and faster, and eventually the time will come when a child is implanted with a little chip back here and will learn to control the chip in the same way that you learn to control your bodily functions and your voice and your movements, so that not only can you, right now my mind is telling my body to talk, and it's supplying my mouth with the words that I'm giving to you, and the mind could also learn to say to the chip, go to a certain web page, download some information, and supply it to the inside of my eyeball. You believe that you're going to be actually able to tell your mind through a chip to provide you with information that you can then speak. So on this program, this would be great for me. Put a little chip in there, and if I didn't know something, I could say to that you would have to say it out loud or just think it. Either way, I can just think it. Give me an answer. Right now, we're loaded up with bionic stuff already. I'm wearing glasses. I have fillings in my teeth. This is a wristwatch. I'm wearing clothing, which allows me to adjust to the climate as I go outside. So it's obviously only a matter of time until convergence allows us to match the number one tool of the next century, and that would be the computer chip. I mean, okay, so those are tools. Glasses are tools. Sure, but all of these are external. The computer should be in you, and that's what frightens me. Well, it could be in you, or it could be wherever you wanted it to be. And it would allow you to make telephone calls without having a cell phone, allow you to surf the web without having a monitor. Well, show me how. So if I had a chip embedded in my head, I could make a telephone call. Like you're going to start talking. Call mom. Yeah. And mom would be, and I could talk to her, say, hello, mom. And I wouldn't have a phone or anything. No. And so you'd have to have some body language so people would know what you were doing. Let's say you're standing at the American Airlines terminal, and you're calling the advantage desk and saying, I've missed my flight. Do you have any seats at 10 o'clock? Mm-hmm. Okay, if you're standing there saying that, somebody's going to look at you like you're one of these crazy. Not if everybody had the chip, they'd all know what was going on. Well, but you would do this. Right. You go there, it's a little phone. I'm not just talking to myself, I'm talking on the phone. And then if you're reading the web on the inside of your eyeballs, it would look rude to people. It would look like I'm staring straight through you. But I'm not staring straight through you. I'm looking at the Fox News webpage, right? So how do I want people to know that? I would just go like this. So you're going to be a whole sign language thing. This sounds so unbelievable. If I was downloading information. But it's true. It could happen, right? You see, my article is half serious and it's half satirical. I don't know which half is half, though, because things are converging so quickly, and computers are already such an amazing tool. But we checked it out a little further than your article, and the scientists tell us that it is absolutely true and absolutely possible for a human being to have a chip embedded in their system and to have many, many things appear in their mind upon command.